This week I learned prepping for bad weather, it's just kind of second nature at this point. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike coming at you with another weekly update as we have officially reached the month of July, guys. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend and are looking to get things rolling for the second half of 2024. Let's begin like usual, guys. Talk about what am I reading. I started reading The Queen of Bedlam by Robert McCammon. It's been kind of slow going the past few days because, in case you missed it, there is a hurricane on the way. So been kind of prepping for that. And also the 4th of July holiday. Lots of fun time with the family and stuff like that. And you never want to miss those moments because my kids are growing like freaking weeds. But The Queen of Bedlam, it started about as kind of what you expect from Robert McCammon books, setting the stage, getting everything really going, getting all the characters in the right place, and now the story is really starting to truck along. I'd say I'm about 40% according to my Kindle here, and it's very, very intriguing. I think that the stuff with what's his name, Owsley, I think that stuff was okay. With me, it was about the mask, or wanting to know about this whole Jack the Ripper style character that's going around hacking people up, and how Matthew always seems to find himself right in the middle of it. I'm like, dude, you would be #1 prime suspect because 2 of these murders now have happened. You just happen to be there when they happen. So it's I keep waiting for kind of that shoe to fall on the part of the story, and I'm sure it will, just as it did in Speaks Nightbird. But yeah, he's setting up a mystery really good. I like the way he's showing New York in the year 1702 and kind of how it is so different than obviously what we know now. But again, the way he is actually able to capture that time period. And not just by telling you, about how dapper they're dressing, which he does do that as well. But he captures that time period really well, makes you just almost transports you back to that time period and knowing what things were like, just down in the muck, as it were. And I'm here for the mystery, and it does have some kind of twists I wasn't expecting, like very much like I expected Robert Downey Jr. to walk out and say, I'm thinking about putting together a team, because there is kind of that moment here. But it actually makes sense for, since this is the book that everybody said just kind of changes the trajectory of the series in the best way possible. And I'm kind of seeing those inner workings as well where I'm at right now. So I'm enjoying where I am. Hopefully I can keep working on that this week. And that leads me, guys, into what am I going to read? Obviously, I'm way behind on everything. I know it's only a week into the month, but I mean, I'm still, trying to finish up One Piece from last month, which I haven't finished yet. And it's just, real life, guys, real life gets in the way sometimes. And I don't feel bad about that or anything. I don't feel like I'm like I said, I'm trying to stop being so just with slavish devotion to the TBR or whatever. I do like to, I'm working finance, so you like to set goals and, expectations for a month, and when you're not meeting them, you can kind of get a little down on yourself. So that's going to happen. That's a me thing. I don't want anybody thinking I'm stressing about it. But yeah, I would like to get back on schedule. And if we're going to be without power here in a couple of days, which I'll go into in a sec, then I expect I'll have some more reading time that I usually weren't. So obviously finished Queen of Bedlam. That's the big one I want to finish this week. And I got to get back on One Piece here because I am falling behind. And Philip said he's going to wait for me now, and I don't want him to wait for me longer than he needs to, because I know he's rolling through it, and I know that content has been very good for his channel, and I definitely don't want to delay that for him. So if I finish both those somehow, then it's on to the next Larry Correia book, which is Destroyer of Worlds, book 3 in the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, which I'm liking quite a bit. Very, very excited about. Like, it's to the point now where I'm like, there's zero chance I won't start Monster Hunter after I finish this, because I just like the way the guy writes action. And I've heard that series is just pretty much just like a thrill ride, adrenaline pumping, nonstop gunfighting action. That sounds really awesome. But yeah, Larry, he's very, very quick in the way that he writes. He writes not just in the books, he writes them quickly, but he writes so fast-paced in the books. His style is so fast-paced that it's really hard to not fly right through them, and I'm expecting to with the next book in the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior. And I should probably be starting, I would say probably, it would probably take me at least this next week to finish Queen of Bedlam, so it would probably be the week after. But, hey, we've got plans for the rest of the month, and that's just step 2 in the plans for the month. How about this week on the channel, guys? I did a couple of videos, wrapped up the month of June, and named my book of the month. And I was very candid in that video that it's kind of a mid-reading month for me. It wasn't the best of reading months. I'm ecstatic and happy that I have chosen this new path that I'm doing. One horror, one sci-fi, one fantasy, one manga, and one miscellaneous every month. I think that's helped me prevent the possibility of any burnout. But the actual books last month were kind of a letdown. So it was one of those where I was like, look, I enjoyed my book of the month that I did pick, but in most months that would not have been my book of the month. So it was a very good book. And I'm not saying it didn't deserve Book of the Month. I'm just saying it was really, really well timed. It's like when you have a movie that wins an Oscar and there wasn't a really dominant field that year, and people always kind of like say, really? That movie won an Oscar? That's kind of how I'd probably look back on it in a few years and be like, come with me, huh? That really, really won Book of the Month, because everything else was just kind of fine. There's nothing that really terrible besides the one that I DNF, which I talked about. And everything else was just kind of fine. It was fine. I enjoyed my time with it, but I'm not anxious to talk about it. I wasn't really excited to think about it the day after I finished a book. It was ones that I was really just, as soon as I closed that last page, I was like, okay, what's next? I was easily led to move on to the next story. I didn't have any of that hangover that you have sometimes when a story just completely knocks your socks off, and none of them really did in the month of June. And I've had lots of people ask me about, the hack. Has that affected the channel analytics? Yes. Watch that video for more. And I did my normal one that I do every July, which is kind of the midpoint of the year, the best and the worst of 2024 so far. I did actually get it down. I usually do like, what's my top 10 so far? Got that down to 5 this year because I feel like my reading pace has been more standard this year instead of really exceeding those numbers that I really, really want. So, it was a fun video to look back at my top 5. It was actually tough to think about what my top 5 have been. Now, I don't rank it. I say I'll do that at the end of the year. The top 5 reads that I've had so far this year. And there were a couple of tough ones I had to leave off. And then my 5 most disappointing reads, I think. And then as well as looking at, the most popular content and things like that. It's always an interesting peek behind the curtain on the health of the channel at the halfway point of the year. And it's always fun to kind of keep an eye on those things and kind of plan around what's been working and what hasn't, because you got to pay attention to your audience, I do say. Over on Mike's Media Reviews, we did a few videos. Really kind of got that channel rolling again. I'm very excited about that. My wife has really been encouraging me to stop being lazy, and we get together and talk about just what we would do after we watch anything anyway. So we did a couple of reviews. We did for the House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3. We're doing those every week. Lots of people have been asking me, why aren't you doing House of the Dragon content anymore? I am. It's just over on the media channel because I feel like that's a better place for it. A lot of people that either have read the books or watched the show, they don't care to hear a book guy talk about them too much. But we also did a review for the new Beverly Hills Cop movie, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which was actually quite good. We were actually surprised with it quite a bit. So if you're wondering why I'm not talking about that in TV and movie talk, it's because we talked about it on Mike's Media Reviews. We also talked about our favorite movies to watch on 4th of July, which is a very popular holiday here in America, as we declared our independence, obviously. So it is. We're getting closer and closer to that 250th birthday of our nation. So we're always quite proud. Being in the States, obviously, we do celebrate that holiday, and there have been lots of movies that have kind of been based around that. And we like to talk about our favorite ones in there. And it's not just Independence Day. There are others that we do mention, though it's hard to go wrong with Independence Day because, it's we will not go quietly into the night. Some next week plans, guys. Got a couple of things rolling here. Before I get into my part of it, there is going to be some stuff on Mike's Media Reviews we've already recorded. We recorded our thoughts on Shogun because my wife did not read the books. She watched the show. She had lots of thoughts and want to talk about. So we kind of talk about Shogun. I would say very, very mild spoilers. If you haven't watched the show, it's nothing that's going to ruin anything for you. But I just want to get that out there. People will be like, you spoiled it for me. I don't think so. But I just do kind of look at it, again, from a reader and a non-reader talking about the show, the adaptation, much more so than the book. You want to hear about the book? I've talked about it on the channel here. But we'll be talking about that, and we'll be doing our weekly wrap-up over there as well. But as for Mike's book reviews, guys, in case you missed it, a hurricane arrives here in the morning. So we're really going to be prepping for that. Look, at this point, when you live in Southeast Texas, you're kind of used to it. You kind of know what to expect. We aren't as close to the coast to where we're worried about the house flooding or anything like that. Hurricane Harvey was just something a little different. This one, Beryl, it looks like it's going to be a category 1 or 2 when it gets here, which in Houston, guys, that's nothing. That's nothing. We're used to things like this. Sucks about the wind. You might get some hail damage. You might get some roof damage. With us, it's just we know we're going to lose power, most likely. So the content for the channel this week is just going to kind of depend on the severity of that. Because, we just had that tornado that I almost died in about a month plus ago. And we had no power for like 2.5 days then. And so no idea how it's going to go. So just kind of stay tuned. I did already record my June book haul, so I'll probably go ahead and schedule it to go out during this week just in case. But as for stuff for the rest of the week, guys, just stay tuned. And, I'll make a post on the community board or whatever, let you guys know what the situation is here. But again, don't need prayers up or anything. I think we'll be quite fine here. It's people a little southwest of us, like in Corpus Christi and things like that might be getting hit much harder than we are. And obviously my thoughts are with them, and I hope they are getting out of town, because hurricanes, look, while we're used to them here in Southeast Texas, they're still not fun, and they are very dangerous, and they should be taken seriously as we are doing that here today. Some TV and movie talk before I go. Like I said, I did talk about some other things with my wife over in Mike's Media Reviews, but a couple things here. 12 Monkeys, I did start. It is pretty freaking good. I'm 7 episodes in to season 1. And I gotta say, I'm impressed at the production value. A lot of Sci-Fi Channel stuff. Look, I've watched tons of it. I've Stargate, Farscape, Battlestar Galactica. These are my favorite shows ever, right? So I'm used to the production value of a Sci-Fi Channel show. It doesn't look small. Like, I thought it was gonna look like everything was gonna look kind of cheap, like it was shot in an office somewhere, like kind of low budget. The special effects are actually quite good on it. And I think this came out in like 2015 is when this came out. So I'm impressed with it so far. And I have already got a billion questions. I'm like Charlie, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got the pegboard and the strings, like connecting all the theories. I'm already doing that. I've already got tons of theories. I've got tons of speculation. I'm already comparing it to the Michael Crichton rules, I call it, that he uses in Timeline. There's an actual phrase for it, and I made a Twitter thread about this, going on and on about what those rules dictate. And I think it's using those, but I don't know. But it's being very smart about his time travel rules. And it's not once where I've looked at him and been like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's got some heavy stuff, where like a character will die, but they tell them before they die, I'm still going to see you in a week, and you have to pretend like you don't know any of this because it can change the timeline. So they have to talk to this character that they know is already dead and pretend like nothing happened. They don't know this character's phase. Just really good acting, really heavy stuff in the writing. It's just top notch. I'm really, really, really into the writing. And I think it's interesting that like the first few episodes, it'll let you know a lot. We're in 2043, we're in 2015, we're in 2013. It'll tell you what year it is, whatever. After a while, it'll start to kind of bounce back and forth. They won't tell you. They're just like, okay, we're not holding your hand anymore. You can tell by the aesthetic and what's going on what year we're in. But it's being very smart with its time travel rules. I'm very encouraged. Again, Terry Matalas, he just kicked ass in Picard season 3. So I went into this with high expectations, and it's meeting them so far. I did actually start Peaky Blinders. I watched episode 1. Much different pace. That is a much slower paced show. So I feel like it's going to just kind of be, am I in the mood for something really fast paced and frenetic, or do I want something kind of a slow burn, which Peaky Blinders seems like it is. Amazing acting. Like I said, I only watched the first episode. Amazing acting. Production value is top notch. I mean, obviously it looks HBO in quality. I love the costuming. It looks authentic to the time period. And anything that's got Cillian Murphy in, I'm always going to enjoy. But if people have been asking, hey, what are you watching so much 12 Monkeys for? Didn't Peaky Blinders win that poll? Yes, I said I was going to watch both of them, and 12 Monkeys was kind of the write-in vote. But right now, I am really I'm all in on the theories and stuff at 12 Monkeys, so I might be actually kind of watching that a little faster. And also, it's a show that, you don't have to kind of slow down, make sure everything in the house is like in a perfect situation for you to watch. You can kind of just watch because it is just action. And, you got to pay attention. Don't get me wrong. You got to pay attention to 12 Monkeys because, some things can happen. You'll be like, wait, what's going on in the timeline? I don't think that, look, I'm not a scroll and watch person. I'm not one of those people who has the phone and watches while they watch TV. I can't do that. I have to pay attention to my shows, but I've had people ask me, how much attention do you kind of have to pay? And it's like, yeah, guys, you don't have to live tweet everything that you watch. Sometimes put the phone down and enjoy watching TV on its own. Again, that's what I am doing. I don't have anything else really. Some gaming talk just real quick. It's been over a year since Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out as a sequel to Breath of the Wild. And you guys remember, I said it's my favorite franchise in gaming, and it's like a holiday in my house. Well, the thing is like, it came out over the summer, and my wife is a teacher, so she's off with the kids stuff. They didn't wait for me. They kept playing. So I didn't really get to experience the full game, so I started my own game over this 4th of July weekend, and yeah, you can see why my reading's falling a little bit behind because I probably sunk about a dozen plus hours into Tears of the Kingdom, which is just so much fun. It's just, I know that there's some people like, I don't really like the new Zeldas because I don't like how the weapons break all the time. That's there, but once you get into it, man, you're missing a hell of a game if you let that chase you away. But it's just such a time sink. It's very much just like a Skyrim, except there's 3 levels. There's the ground level, the down below, and then there's the way up high in the sky. So it's just, there's so much to do and so much to explore. So if you're in a single person solo campaign kind of thing, yeah, it's one of the best, and that's kind of sucking up some of my time right now. But yeah, it's very difficult. I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, why aren't you playing Elden Ring? And I'm like, it's just too damn hard. And like, well, you're playing Zelda, it's freaking hard. I don't think it's on the same level. I don't know, because Zelda, I just feel like if you take your time and just know what places you don't go to yet, I guess that might apply to Elden Ring too. I might be sticking my foot in my mouth now, and I don't know. But guys, that was my week. I'd love to know what you guys are up to. As soon as the power comes back on, I'll be in contact with you guys and making new content. I might try to put up a short or something like that. If we have cell service during this time, I might put up a short video and let you guys know how it does go. But appreciate your well wishes and all those things. And drop in the comments. Let me know what you guys are up to, what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you are playing. And I will talk to you there.